Anthills of the Savannah is a 1987 novel by Nigerian writer Chinua Achebe. It was his fifth novel, first published in the United Kingdom 21 years after Achebe's previous one, A Man of the People in 1966, and was credited with having revived his reputation in Britain. A finalist for the 1987 Booker Prize for Fiction, Anthills of the Savannah has been described as the most important novel to come out of Africa in the 1980s. Critics praised the novel upon its release. Anthills of the Savannah takes place in the imaginary West African country of Kangan, where a Sandhurst-trained officer, identified only as Sam and known as His Excellency, has taken power following a military coup. Achebe describes the political situation through the experiences of three friends: Chris Oriko, the government's commissioner for information; Beatrice Oko, an official in the Ministry of Finance and girlfriend of Chris; and Ikem Osodi, a newspaper editor critical of the regime. Other characters include Elua, Ikem's girlfriend, and Major Samsonite Osai, a military official known for stapling hands with a Samsonite stapler. Tensions escalate throughout the novel, culminating in the assassination of Ikem by the regime, the toppling and death of Sam, and finally the murder of Chris. The book ends with a non-traditional naming ceremony for Elua and Ikem's month-old daughter, organized by Beatrice. The novel is set in the fictional West African country of Kangan, which has recently undergone a military coup. The coup has brought a military officer known as Sam to power, who is now referred to as His Excellency. The story revolves around the experiences of three close friends who are caught up in the political turmoil of Kangan. Chris Oriko. Chris is the government's commissioner for information, a position of significant influence. He is a close friend of Sam and initially supports the regime. He is in a romantic relationship with Beatrice Oko. Beatrice Oko. Beatrice works in the Ministry of Finance and is Chris's girlfriend. She is intelligent and becomes increasingly disillusioned with the regime as she witnesses its corruption and brutality. Ikem Osodi. Ikem is a newspaper editor who is highly critical of the authoritarian regime. He uses his newspaper to voice his opposition to Sam's government and advocate for democracy and freedom of speech. Ikem is also in a relationship with Elua. Elua is Ikem's girlfriend and a strong-willed woman who supports his ideals. She plays a significant role in the story, providing emotional support to Ikem and sharing his vision for a better Kangan. Major Samsonite Osai. Major Osai is a military official known for his brutal tactics, including using a Samsonite stapler to staple people's hands, which earned him his nickname. As the narrative unfolds, tensions in Kangan escalate. The government becomes increasingly oppressive, cracking down on dissent and free speech. Ikem's newspaper articles continue to challenge the regime's authority, making him a target. Tragically, Ikem is assassinated by the regime for his outspoken views. This event sparks further unrest and protests in Kangan. Sam's grip on power weakens as opposition grows. In the climax of the novel, Sam's regime is toppled, and he dies under mysterious circumstances. The story concludes with the murder of Chris, who was once a supporter of the regime but later realized its corruption. The novel ends with a non-traditional naming ceremony organized by Beatrice for Elua and Ikem's month-old daughter, symbolizing hope for a brighter future in Kangan after the dark period of authoritarian rule. Anthills of the Savannah is a thought-provoking and powerful exploration of political power, corruption, and resistance in an African context, told through the personal experiences and relationships of its characters. Chris Oriko. Role: Government's Commissioner for Information. Personality: Initially loyal to the regime, Chris is intelligent and ambitious. He starts to question the government's actions and becomes disillusioned as the story progresses. Development: Chris's character undergoes significant transformation, shifting from a supporter of the regime to someone who recognizes its corruption and brutality. Beatrice Oko. Role: An official in the Ministry of Finance and Chris's girlfriend. Personality: Beatrice is intelligent, strong-willed, and morally upright. She becomes increasingly critical of the government's actions and abuses of power. Development: Beatrice evolves from a relatively passive role in the beginning to an active and courageous critic of the regime. Her character exemplifies the moral awakening of many citizens in Kangan. Ikem Osodi. Role: Newspaper editor and government critic. Personality: Ikem is a charismatic and passionate writer who is dedicated to the cause of democracy and free speech. He is courageous and unafraid to challenge authority. Development: Achem's character represents the voice of dissent in the novel. His assassination serves as a turning point in the story, highlighting the dangers faced by those who dare to speak out against the regime. Elua. Role: Achem's girlfriend and supporter of his ideals. Personality: Elua is strong, independent, and loyal. She shares Achem's vision for a better Kangen and provides emotional support to him. Development: Elua's character demonstrates resilience and solidarity with Achem's cause, even in the face of danger and adversity. Major: Samsonite, Asai. Role: a ruthless military official known for brutality. Personality: Major Asai is depicted as cruel and sadistic, using extreme methods to maintain order and suppress dissent. Significance: Major Asai represents the oppressive and brutal nature of the regime. His actions serve to highlight the regime's ruthlessness. His Excellency, Sam. Role: the military leader who assumes power after a coup. Personality: initially charismatic and persuasive, Sam's character becomes increasingly authoritarian and paranoid as he clings to power. Significance: Sam's character embodies the corrupting influence of power and the dangers of unchecked authority. These character sketches provide insight into the diverse personalities and roles within the novel, showcasing how each character contributes to the exploration of political power, corruption, and resistance in the fictional country of Kangen. Here are character sketches for a few more important characters from Anthills of the Savannah by Chinua Achebe. Adamaka. Role: a close friend of Chris, Beatrice, and Achebe. Personality: Adamaka is a thoughtful and perceptive character who serves as a confidant and advisor to the main characters. Significance: Adamaka provides a voice of reason and wisdom in the story, offering insights and guidance to the protagonists as they navigate the challenges of Kangen's political landscape. Sam's aide-de-camp, ADC. Role: an officer who serves as Sam's personal assistant and advisor. Personality: the ADC is loyal to Sam and often implements Sam's orders, even when they involve morally questionable actions. Significance: the ADC's character represents the military's role in maintaining the regime's power and enacting its policies. Sylvia. Role: a journalist and friend of Achebe. Personality: Sylvia is passionate about journalism and committed to reporting the truth. She shares Achebe's ideals and is an ally in his fight for freedom of the press. Significance: Sylvia's character highlights the importance of a free press in holding those in power accountable and disseminating information to the public. Sam's mother, Neka. Role: Sam's mother and a traditional figure in Kangen society. Personality: Neka is depicted as a traditionalist who clings to the past. She represents the older generation's perspective on the changing political landscape. Significance: Neka's character adds depth to the novel by contrasting the traditional values with the modern political realities of Kangen. Julius Obi. Role: a lawyer who represents Achebe during a legal case. Personality: Julius Obi is a skilled and principled lawyer who is willing to defend those who speak out against the government. Significance: Julius Obi's character underscores the importance of legal representation and the rule of law in a just society, even in the face of political persecution. These additional character sketches provide a more comprehensive view of the diverse cast of characters in Anthills of the Savannah. Each character contributes to the novel's themes and narrative, offering different perspectives on the challenges and complexities of life in Kangen under an authoritarian regime. Here is an analysis of Anthills of the Savannah by Chinua Achebe. 1. Critique of authoritarianism. A central theme of the novel is a critique of authoritarian rule. Achebe explores the dangers of unchecked political power, the erosion of civil liberties, and the suppression of dissent. Through the characters of Chris, Beatrice, and Achebe, the novel shows how individuals can be drawn into complicity with an oppressive regime or become victims of it. 2. Power and corruption. The novel delves into the corrupting influence of power. Sam, who initially appears as a charismatic and capable leader, becomes increasingly authoritarian and paranoid as he clings to power. His transformation highlights the corrupting nature of political authority. 3. Role of the media. Achebe emphasizes the importance of a free and responsible press through the character of Achebe. Achebe's dedication to journalism and his willingness to challenge the government's actions underscore the role of the media in exposing corruption and holding those in power accountable. 4. Gender and relationships. The novel also explores gender dynamics and relationships. Beatrice and Elua are strong, independent women who play significant roles in challenging the regime. Their characters challenge traditional gender norms and expectations. 5. Friendship and loyalty. The friendship between Chris, Beatrice, and Achebe is central to the story. Achebe examines how loyalty and friendship can be tested in times of political upheaval. Chris's transformation from a regime supporter to a critic strains his friendship with Achebe and Beatrice, highlighting the moral dilemmas faced by individuals in such situations. 6. Traditional versus modern values. Nneka, Sam's mother, represents traditional values and cultural norms. Her character contrasts with the modern, progressive ideals of characters like Achebe and Beatrice. This juxtaposition explores the tension between tradition and progress in African society. 7. Resistance and consequences. The novel portrays the consequences of resistance. Achebe pays the ultimate price for his outspoken opposition to the regime. His assassination serves as a stark reminder of the risks involved in challenging authoritarian regimes. 8. Hope and resilience. Despite the dark and often tragic events in the novel, there are elements of hope and resilience. Beatrice's non-traditional naming ceremony for Elua and Achebe's daughter at the end of the novel symbolizes the potential for positive change and a brighter future in Kangen. 9. Symbolism. The title of the novel, Anthills of the Savannah, serves as a symbolic representation of the fragile balance of power in society. Anthills are complex structures that can be destroyed with ease, reflecting the vulnerability of societal structures under oppressive rule. In Anthills of the Savannah, Chinua Achebe masterfully weaves together these themes and characters to create a compelling narrative that serves as both a critique of authoritarianism and a reflection on the complexities of human relationships and values in a changing society. The novel is a thought-provoking exploration of the challenges faced by individuals and nations in the pursuit of justice, freedom, and progress. Let's examine some of the key aspects of Anthills of the Savannah by Chinua Achebe in greater detail. 1. Political allegory. Anthills of the Savannah can be seen as an allegorical representation of post-colonial African political struggles. The fictional country of Kangen reflects the broader African experience with authoritarian regimes and military coups during the post-colonial era. Achebe uses Kangen as a microcosm to explore the challenges and complexities faced by many African nations in their pursuit of stable governance and democracy. 2. Character development. The novel provides a deep exploration of character development. Several characters, particularly Chris Oriko, undergo significant transformations throughout the story. Chris's journey from a loyal supporter of the regime to a disillusioned critic illustrates the moral dilemmas faced by individuals in positions of power. 3. Irony and satire. Achebe employs irony and satire to critique the flaws and contradictions within the political system. The characters' actions and the government's policies are often juxtaposed with the ideals of democracy and justice, highlighting the absurdity and hypocrisy of authoritarian rule. 4. The role of literature and journalism. The character of Achebe Osodi, a newspaper editor and government critic, underscores the vital role of literature and journalism in shaping public opinion and challenging oppressive regimes. Achebe's dedication to truth and free speech highlights the power of words in influencing societal change. 5. Gender roles and women's empowerment. Achebe addresses gender dynamics and women's empowerment through characters like Beatrice and Elua. Beatrice's evolution from a passive observer to an active critic of the regime challenges traditional gender roles. Elua, as a strong and independent woman, serves as a symbol of resilience and support for Achebe's ideals. 6. Tragedy and sacrifice. The novel incorporates elements of tragedy and sacrifice, particularly in the fate of Achebe and other characters who resist the regime. These sacrifices underscore the high personal costs associated with political activism and the struggle for justice. 7. Hope amidst despair. Achebe offers a glimmer of hope in the midst of despair, symbolized by Beatrice's non-traditional naming ceremony at the end of the novel. This suggests that, despite the darkness of the political landscape, there is the potential for positive change and a better future. 8. African identity and tradition. Through the character of Nneka, Sam's mother, Achebe explores the tension between African tradition and modernity. Nneka represents the traditional values and customs that coexist with the changing political and social landscape of Kangen, emphasizing the need for a balance between the two. 9. Colonial legacy. While the novel primarily focuses on contemporary political issues, the colonial legacy lingers in the background. The characters and society in Kangen have been shaped by the historical impact of colonialism, and this legacy continues to influence their lives and decisions. In summary, Anthills of the Savannah is a multi-layered novel that delves deep into the complexities of post-colonial African politics, individual moral dilemmas, the role of the media, and the struggle for justice and democracy. Achebe's use of allegory, character development, and symbolism creates a thought-provoking narrative that invites readers to reflect on the challenges and possibilities of African nations in their quest for political stability and social progress. Let's delve into some of the key themes in Anthills of the Savannah, by Chinua Achebe, along with examples from the novel. 1. Authoritarianism and political power. Example: the central theme of authoritarianism is exemplified through the character of His Excellency, Sam. Initially seen as a charismatic leader, Sam gradually consolidates power, suppresses dissent, and resorts to violence to maintain control. His regime represents the dangers of unchecked political power. 2. Corruption and abuse of power. Example: the novel illustrates widespread corruption within the government. Characters like Chris Oriko witness the misuse of funds and resources for personal gain. The regime's officials, including Major Osai, are depicted as ruthless enforcers who use their positions for personal benefit. 3. The role of the media and free speech. Example: Achebe Osodi, the newspaper editor, embodies the theme of free speech and media responsibility. His articles criticize the government's actions, highlighting the importance of a free press in challenging authoritarian rule. Achebe's dedication to truth and justice makes him a symbol of resistance through journalism. 4. Friendship and loyalty. Example: the friendship between Chris, Beatrice, and Achebe is tested throughout the novel. Chris, initially loyal to the regime, struggles to balance his loyalty to his friends with his position in the government. This theme explores the complexities of personal relationships in a politically charged environment. 5. Gender and empowerment. Example: Beatrice's character transformation illustrates the theme of gender empowerment. Initially in a subservient role, she evolves into a strong and outspoken critic of the regime. Her journey reflects the empowerment of women as they find their voices and assert their rights. 6. Resistance and sacrifice. Example: Achebe's assassination serves as a powerful example of resistance and sacrifice. He pays the ultimate price for his commitment to exposing the government's corruption and advocating for democracy. His death becomes a catalyst for further opposition against the regime. 7. Tradition versus modernity. Example: the tension between tradition and modernity is represented by Nneka, Sam's mother. She clings to traditional customs and values, while characters like Achebe and Beatrice embrace modern, progressive ideals. This theme highlights the cultural clash within Kangen society. 8. Hope and change. Example: despite the dark and oppressive atmosphere, the novel ends with a non-traditional naming ceremony organized by Beatrice for Elua and Achebe's daughter. This event symbolizes hope for change and a brighter future in Kangen, emphasizing the possibility of transformation and progress. 9. Colonial legacy. Example: while not directly discussed, the colonial legacy is present in the novel's backdrop. The political and social landscape of Kangen is shaped by its history of colonial rule, impacting the characters' identities and the challenges they face in the post-colonial era. These themes in Anthills of the Savannah provide a rich and complex tapestry for understanding the novel's exploration of politics, society, and individual morality in the context of a fictional African nation. They highlight the universal relevance of Achebe's storytelling and its significance in addressing broader issues of power and justice. The novel, Anthills of the Savannah, by Chinua Achebe holds significant literary and thematic importance. Here are some of the key aspects of its significance. Political allegory and social critique. Anthills of the Savannah serves as a powerful political allegory for the post-colonial African experience. It critiques the challenges and complexities faced by newly independent African nations as they grapple with issues of governance, corruption, and authoritarian rule. Achebe's portrayal of Kangen mirrors the real-world struggles of many African countries in the aftermath of colonialism. African literature and post-colonial discourse. The novel is a notable contribution to African literature and post-colonial discourse. Chinua Achebe, a prominent African writer, continues his legacy of exploring African identity, politics, and societal issues through literature. His work is instrumental in shaping discussions about the role of literature in addressing complex social and political challenges. Character development and moral dilemmas. The characters in the novel undergo significant development and face profound moral dilemmas. Their journeys, particularly that of Chris Oriko, reflect the inner conflicts and ethical quandaries experienced by individuals who must navigate political and moral complexities. This exploration of character adds depth and relatability to the story. The role of the media and free speech. Anthills of the Savannah underscores the importance of a free press and freedom of speech in holding those in power accountable. Achebe character represents the courage of journalists and writers who risk their lives to expose corruption and advocate for justice, highlighting the vital role of media in society. Gender and empowerment. The novel contributes to discussions about gender roles and women's empowerment in Africa. Beatrice's transformation from a passive observer to a vocal critic of the regime exemplifies the potential for women to play active and influential roles in political and social change. Resistance and sacrifice. The theme of resistance and the sacrifices made by those who oppose oppressive regimes are central to the novel's message. The story underscores the high personal costs associated with political activism and the struggle for justice, serving as a testament to the resilience and determination of individuals. Hope for change. The novel ends on a note of hope, emphasizing the possibility of change and a brighter future. This message of hope is significant as it encourages readers to believe in the potential for positive transformation even in the face of adversity and oppression. Colonial legacy and cultural identity. While not explicitly discussed, the colonial legacy in the novel's backdrop highlights the lasting impact of colonialism on African nations. The tension between tradition and modernity reflects the struggle for cultural identity in a changing world. In summary, Anthills of the Savannah is a significant literary work that engages with pressing political, social, and moral issues. Its exploration of power, corruption, resistance, and the complexities of post-colonial African nations continues to resonate with readers and scholars, making it an enduring and thought-provoking piece of African literature.